what you're doing to me now. They lie, they steal, they fooled us. Deep down I probably knew this. I think I will be holding on to the one thing that I know is stronger. Love is blind and no one's perfect. Platinum seems so shallow, 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 shallow. But you are bright white gold. They made us lose our focus. The very same hands that formed us.
After an entertaining season opener at Michigan, we come now to round 2 for the USRA Cup Series here at Chicagoland Speedway. Good evening, everybody. My name is Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for joining us here tonight. A little bit of technical difficulties kind of delayed the broadcast a little bit. We are in the middle of qualifying. We thank you very much again for joining us here tonight with my broadcast partner, as always, Tony Trapasso. Tony, we had one heck of a run last week. I'm sure we're going to see the same thing again here tonight.
Absolutely, and you know, this is one of my favorite tracks. You know, Michigan always gives us great action, 2-3 wide all night long, and I'm sure these guys are going to put on one amazing show tonight.
We're in the middle of qualifying as we speak here. As you're seeing Roy Lehman's on track right now in the 19th position. He's going to move himself up. As a matter of fact, hold on, there we go. Yes, it is the right one. Thank you. All right, so as you see the guys that are on track right now, as Lehman's moves up, let's take a look at Clint Castleberry here, who's about to end his second lap and does. Puts himself up into 20th. Thomas Ogle in the 23, working on his second lap. But Tony, you mentioned this is a very fast racetrack, not quite as fast as Michigan, but you could hold it wide open around here and create some very, very good racing as Thomas Ogle moves up into the 13th position.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I had my plane tickets messed up. Michigan's next week, but that was last week. But no, Chicagoland, again, it's a wide track. You can get a lot of stuff done here, and this is one of the best mile-and-a-half tracks we're going to come to all season, personal opinion. But Chicagoland all the time is going to be a fuel mileage race. And I don't care if there's one caution or no, or 20 cautions. It's going to come down to, do you have enough in the tank to make it to the finish?
Yeah, it certainly will at the end of this thing as Jonathan Leach goes to the 25th position. We're looking now at Rhett Tucker, who is on his first lap as the session actually ends. So Rhett Tucker will not get his time in, one of several, as we will go to the grid here for the start, prior to the start of this race here tonight. Starting on the pole will be Randy Bechtel in the number 29. He beat out Justin Winters by 3/100ths of a second. Roy Lehman's and Evan Pineda will make up row 2. Alex Huffman, the pole sitter from last week, in the 5th position with Randy Jones alongside him, Ryan Jones, alongside him in the 3rd row. Douglas Wolcott and Troy Torgerson in row 4. Cody Leavitt, and David Carpenter in row 5. Jeff Pogo and Chase Barry make up row number 6. Thomas Ogle and Jason Young make up row 7. Stephen Holmes and Chris Brown in row 8, with row 9 being Tommy Cannon and Dustin Scruggs. My goodness. Tony.
Row 10 is going to see Dan Dill and James Leach. Clint Castleberry and Aaron Diefler are going to roll off in row 11. Row 12 is going to see our good friend Robert Dudley and Dale Eland Jr. John Leach and Jared Hagerdorn are going to roll off in row 13, with row 14 going to Eric Holly and Jeff Chandler. Luke LaFaro and Rhett Tucker in row 15, with Jeff Winter and Zach Calloway in row 16. Row 17 and starting shotgun on the field, Larry Poling and Mike March.
So that will be the list of 34 drivers that will be making the start here tonight from Jeff Chandler on down. There were no times placed as we get set to go here tonight. And if you look down at the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, you see one sponsor that we are incredibly proud of to have here on the broadcast. That is diecastnuts.com. And Tony, would you please let the fine folks know about our incredible new sponsor?
Diecast Nuts is it's a community of diecast fans that they can buy, sell, trade, show off your collection, and it's all user based. You can find them on their Facebook page, you can find them on their web page, but if you are looking for some gifts for that special someone for Christmas, check out their Facebook page, because they have a shop section, and I already know that there's a couple Christmas gifts I'm going to be shopping for already.
I'm sure there are. That is our brand new sponsor down there in the bottom left corner. It is diecastnuts.com, spelled exactly how you see in the logo on the bottom left. So we begin tonight's race with Randy Bechtel on the pole. Again, Justin Winters to his outside. One notable name that we have do not see and that we did not mention is last week's winner, Jordan Smith in the 24, was unable to make it for this race. Pace car ducks off. Race number 2 of season 7 for the United Sim Racers Association is underway from Chicagoland.
That's one winner's in lockstep right now as they haul it off into turn number 1. A gaggle of angry hornets behind him as Roy Lehman's trying to make some headway, goes to the inside as they head down the Brant back straightaway, and with a head of steam, they were 3 wide going into turn number 3.
That's Roy Lehman's down there on the bottom in that number 74. I do apologize, the timing and scoring is a little mixed up right now, as the 74 of Lehman's takes the lead on lap 1. Might have to restart this, Tony, if you wouldn't mind.
Lehman's, Betchel, Huffman, Winters, and Panetta, your top 5 right now, still in lockstep. Here comes the 25 of Huffman to the inside. Power move. Slide job coming out of turn number 4 and to the line. Give lap number 2 to Huffman. Meanwhile, here comes the 16 of Panetta as well. And these guys are just flat getting it right now.
Sorted itself out as Huffman goes to the lead. I do apologize for that. As Huffman goes to the lead, Lehman's in second, Panetta in third, Bechtel fourth, Winters fifth, as that is now right at the top of the screen. Side-by-side action for second place as Panetta goes to the inside on Lehman's. And also, look at that very special 91 from Ryan Jones here tonight.
Ryan running a paint scheme to tribute to a couple of family members that he has serving currently, a little belated Happy Veterans Day to Rachel and Kyle Jones on that car tonight, and sponsored by the Blue Angel.
Certainly is. Well, I'm sure we will see that number 91 up there towards the front for a vast majority of the night as we get a nice little look at it as it goes by. Still a lot of side-by-side action, Tony, and this is exactly what you had said at the start of this race. What to expect, side-by-side action, full throttle racing. Everyone that qualified only qualified within 0.2 of each other.
That's extremely close. Yeah, you line them up nose to tail and it gets a little spread out. But 2/10, right now, you take a look at the difference between first and second, that's 5/10. So, extrapolate from there, folks.
So as we head on working lap number 7, well, about to start lap number 7, pardon me, is Troy Torgerson. On the outside there, Torgerson finishing second place last week at the season opener in Michigan, looking to get a little bit higher this time, as there goes the 52 around, still sliding.
Robert Dudley getting caught up in that one.
Trying to get back to it as the caution does come out here. Caution number 1 on the evening, and that started with the 52 of Justin Winters, and you see there's the 81. That's Daniel Dill. Dill, who was our third place finisher last week. And we'll take a look at what brought this caution out. As you see, there's the 99 sliding. There goes the 49 into the wall. And these guys just so close together. It's kind of like Daytona and Talladega. It's very hard to avoid an incident when these guys are packed up so close together.
Well, if you go back to look at the start of that mess, it looked like the 71 just missed the corner.
So you see
72.
You see the 49 of Robert Dudley just limping it into pit road as the pace car makes his way around.
Yeah, Walcott never started really turning, and then all hell broke loose as everybody was trying to avoid Winter's car.
As that will put us under the first caution of the night, as the 25 of Alex Huffman holding on to the lead of the race. Evan Pineda in second, with Troy Torgerson, who we were just mentioning, running in the third position. And looking back at our pole sitter tonight, Randy Bechtel in the 29, he's fallen all the way back to 6th after that pole start.
Yeah, kind of got freight trained at the beginning of this thing, and unfortunately has not been able to rebound yet.
We talk so much about drafting and moving around at the bigger racetracks. Here is a place where you can run wide open, at least for a little while, in these cup cars. Draft is going to play a major factor in this race towards the end, especially if guys are on fresher tires. That lead might not be where you want to be tonight.
No, I mean, if you've got anybody within drafting range of you coming to the white flag, you might just as well realize that you're at best not winning the race, at worst you're not finishing on the podium.
So is the safety car set to come in here this time? Working, I believe, what we're lap 10 right now?
We are currently working lap 10.
Yeah, currently working lap. See, I know how to count. As we're serving our first caution of the evening. Alex Hoffman and Evan Pineda on the front row here for this race. Well, on the front row to begin this restart here, Tony, please lead them down.
Huffman going to have the button as they work their way into the 3-4 complex. Pineda, Huffman, Torgerson, Lehmans, Ogle, and Betchler. Your first 3 rows. The space car gets ready to make that hard left turn onto pit road. Huffman has the button. He can pull the trigger when he feels like it. He feels like it, and we are back underway at Chicagoland.
starting lap 11 of 166. As Huffman getting away, Panetta and Torgerson in second and third, side-by-side action a little bit further in the back there. That's Eric Holly in the 8 on the inside of the 9 of Stephen Holmes. That's a battle for the 12th position here on this restart.
And that's the thing with the restarts here, you've got to get as much as you can, whenever you can. As Huffman, I was afraid was about to get freight train going down the back straightaway, but he's got to protect that inside line. But in order to do so, he's going to cost himself some speed. So you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't at this point. As Huffman showing the way, everybody's starting to mind their P's and Q's right now up towards the front of the field. Where it's really starting to pick up is right around the 72 of Wolcott, working on the 3 of Levitt.
The 72 of Wolcott, you saw at the very top of the screen there, had a little bit of a wiggle coming out of turn number 4. Still trying to work that outside and get such a great momentum run as we see Roy Lehman's in the 74 under Troy Torgerson in the 98. That is for the 3rd position. Those two having quite a battle here working lap 13, starting lap 14.
Still side by side as Torgerson tries to battle back on the high side. And we saw him run up front a lot last week. And the business is starting to pick up on that lead battle as well, as Panetta was starting to look to the inside of Huffman going into out of 2 and thought better of it.
A little bit further in the back of the field, Eric Holly and Stephen Holmes are still battling with each other. Rhett Tucker in there as well in that white and blue 00. As Tucker up 17 positions, Holly up 16. Both of those guys not taking qualifying, as we noted earlier in the broadcast, right up here battling for spots in the top 10.
Yeah, and it's kind of to be expected here at Chicagoland. If you know how to work the draft, if you know what your car is doing, you can make up spots hand over fist when you're on fresher tires. Now is the time to do it, because once you wear the goodie off, forget it. You're going to be sliding all over the place, especially when the track temperature right now is 101 degrees Fahrenheit.
You see Douglas Wolcott losing positions now. That will promote Eric Holly into the top 10 as Wolcott slides up the track and loses positions to both the 3 and the 8. Up a little bit further ahead of them is the 29 of Randy Bechtel, working to the inside of the 23 of Thomas Ogle, looking at the back end of the 91 of Ryan Jones. That would be a battle for the 5th position if he can make it stay.
You got to think Wolcott's got a little bit of damage after that contact he had with the 55 that helped start the melee the 52 that helped start the melee that was that first caution. So he's going to need to get that fixed when he gets his first tire stop.
See a 3-way battle for the lead now forming as the 25, the 74, and the 16. Is the 74 of Lehman's. He was decent last week at Michigan. He's looking really strong here tonight as we start lap 19 here.
Huffman's still in control of this one, but yeah, Lehman's has done that Furniture Row Racing 74 proud the last couple of weeks. Has been running up towards the front, and the 3 of them starting to stretch their legs over Ryan Jones in that U.S. Navy 91.
They certainly are. As there is Ryan Jones in that number 91, has the 98 and 29 right behind him, starting to pull away ever so slightly from that 98, trying to work his way with some fresh air up towards the top 3. And again, with how quick these guys can go through these corners, holding it flat out, front grip and not having dirty air in front of your car is going to make a huge difference here tonight.
myself if I turn my mic back on. But yeah, I mean, these guys are doing nothing short of impressing me right now. Especially this battle for fifth between Torgerson and Bechtel. Those guys are just flat getting it.
See the 29 and the 98 in the middle of your screen. That is Jeff Pogo behind them in the number 4. Now, Jeff did not have a great run last week in Michigan. Certainly hasn't turned around at the moment here for round 2 at Chicago.
We can only hope so, because that was a night he'd probably just as soon not remember too well.
Saw him get lapped a couple times. I believe he was involved in an incident as well. So there you see this being the battle for 5th position, as it is Bechdel, Torgerson, and Pogo. Bechdel holding on to that 5th place. Alex Huffman, however, now starting to get a little bit of a battle from Roy Lehmans. This a battle for the lead, as Huffman got out to the lead within the first couple laps, and he has been able to hold it and hold it solidly, just the same way he did last week at Michigan.
That kind of goes back to what we saw last week at Michigan, where if you can get into the clean air and keep it in the clean air, you've got a better chance of keeping everybody behind you. But here we go. Just as I say that, Lehman throws it to the inside, into clean air, down onto the apron, and we've got a battle for the lead really hot and heavy right now.
Yep, and that's that wide apron down by the front straightaway, as Lehman's working on the inside of the working on the inside of the 25, pardon me, as Lehman's trying to he got a solid run coming out of turn 2, sails it off into turn 3, edges ahead of the 25, and is able to take the lead, as Huffman forced to back out of it. Roy Lehmans, for the first time tonight, in the lead in the number 74 Furniture Row Toyota.
And Huffman's got to be careful, because Panetta is hungry as well, and he is starting to close in just like Lehmans did, and you can see that he saw what Lehmans was able to do. Look for, a replay of what we just saw.
So you see there the 91 of Ryan Jones. Got to take advantage of the 16 of Evan Panetta, who got loose coming out of turn 4. That's going to move the 91 into the 3rd position. Again, Ryan Jones running that tribute scheme tonight for Veterans Day yesterday. Doing him proud as he puts that number 91 up into 3rd position.
With shades of the Blue Angels that are on the nose of that car, with just the hammer down, go that he's going right now, and they are coming up quickly on some lap traffic. And that is a heavily damaged car.
Yeah, it is. That is
61?
Yep, that appears to be the 69, actually. Yep, the 69
yes, it is.
Of Larry Poling, who was a part of that first wreck. Without
representing the U.S. Army tonight, by the way.
Yes, he is. That number 69. Battle for the lead again now, as Roy Lehmans and Alex Huffman swapping again.
Huffman using the draft to his advantage. Timed it just right, was able to get the pull down the front chute, and just like that, he's back to the point. And the two of them, if they were smart, they'd start working together, as we're not that far off from green flag pit stops, as they're starting to work lap 29, and they've only got an 80% fuel fill tonight.
So pit stops are going to be coming here fairly soon. As you just mentioned, we're still not done here with this battle for 4th place. The 16, the 29, and 98 all battling here. It's about a 6-car battle for the lead. However, the toughest fight is in that 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th range. Jeff Pogo just hanging back a little bit. He's got Thomas Ogle in his rearview mirror in the 23 to worry about, as Lehmans goes for the lead again on the 25.
To the inside, going into turn number 1, side by side, but Huffman keeps his foot in it. and just sails it around the outside. And that's something that you're
able to hold that around the outside as there he goes again down to the inside of the 25. Also looking back a little bit, up 21 positions from where he started. The 00 of Rhett Tucker up into the 9th position. He has Eric Holly up 17 spots behind him. Cannot wait to see what those guys could do on a fresh set of tires up towards the front, because they both look incredibly fast in race trim.
Absolutely. But what we're seeing right now all through the field is these guys have already worn all the goodie off the tires, and they're starting to slip and slide, and that second lane is really starting to come in and play dividends. If you've got to pinch it down towards that apron line, you're going to just do nothing but kill your momentum. As you know, the battle between Huffman and Lehman's still hot and heavy, and you know, we're able to see Huffman able to defend from that outside line.
Back up front, Huffman and the 74 still battling for the lead. That 91 is somewhat broken away from that second group there of Ryan Jones. He's now starting to move back up towards the top with Huffman and Lehman's. As there we see Bechtel going under the 16. That's a battle for 4th position, trying to hold it along the inside, and will be able to at least stay there. Not sure if he got the spot going into the next lap, but he'll certainly have a great shot at it coming onto the back straightaway here. Battle for 4th.
He's going to have a shot, but he was 1,000th behind, which is about 2 coats of paint at the speed these guys are traveling. And we're seeing, you know, just like I was mentioning, Panetta was able to defend. Kind of has to give it up because he doesn't want to lose 2 here, as Torgerson throws it to the inside as well. That outside lane, get a little more rubber into it, and these guys are going to sail at the end of the race.
Torgerson just taking over that 5th position. Still hanging around back there is Jeff Pogo and Thomas Ogle. There you see those two running in the 7th and 8th positions. About a second and a half behind them is the 00 of Rhett Tucker that we had mentioned prior, and Tommy Cannon in that number 47 hanging on to the back of Eric Holly, trying to get back into the top 10.
Cannon doing everything he can to try to climb with these guys, and Carpenter's got to figure something out quick, because that Toyota Camry is not running the way he was hoping it would.
You know, started in the 10th position, Carpenter down to 12th. He has Jamie Leach behind him, Aaron Diefler, pardon me, in the 41. There he is on screen, flashing into corner number 1. A guy that we had talked a lot about at Michigan behind him in the number 20, that is Luke Lafaro. He's not having as good a race as he had last week at the season opener.
Didn't have the qualifying attempt at all, so he started at the tail end of the field, but he's trying to take that DC Solar number 20 towards the front. He's already gained 13 spots from the start of the event, so he is moving forward, but not at the pace that he was hoping to do so. But the other two that are really struggling right now, the 52 of Justin Winters has still not recovered from that brush of the wall that he had earlier, and Cody Levitt is drifting back as well, as he started 9th and currently runs at 16th.
We go back up towards the front. That is the 74 of Roy Lehman's back in the race lead. Ryan Jones has gotten around Alex Huffman into 2nd position, and that has brought the 29, who has broken away from the 98 and the 16 up to these guys. A 4-way fight for the race lead now as we inch closer and closer to pit stops as we hit lap 40.
are starting to come up on some heavily damaged cars in front of them, just trying to turn laps right now. The first one they're going to come to looks like the 9 is Steve Holmes, and in front of him is the 99 of Jason Young. Young is already a lap down. Holmes, in that Motorcraft number 9, is currently the last car on the lead lap. So, the leaders are going to have to be mindful of these guys. Some of them with damage, some of them just driving mad now. So,
the 99 was a part of that first incident. There you see him on the outside there. That is Jason Young with the 9 below him. And it wasn't that long ago we were talking about Steve Holmes and the 9 battling with Eric Holly for the 11th position. And again, we talked about it, just sometimes you get so close to each other on the racetrack around here as pit stops are starting as Troy Torgerson takes it down pit road.
Question, Torgerson going to be the first one to blink as the leaders working lap traffic, as Jones all over the back bumper of Lehman's right now. And you're going to make it 3 wide down the back straightaway for the lead.
Just took that run coming out of turn 2, did the 91 and is unable to get it through the middle. That 74 though looking very, very strong on old tires, as now here comes the 91, who honestly might be looking a little bit better on that old rubber. Unable to keep it on the bottom, now gets it there finally. He's going to have to hold off Huffman, and Bechtel in the 29. He's starting to come up here as well.
Looks like both those guys have long run sets in their cars, of course, Lehman's and Jones. So as the cars wear, as the tires wear, they're not having as much fall off in their lap times as some of the guys that are set up for a little bit more shorter of a run and hoping for more cautions.
Still working the middle of this pit cycle here. So some of the guys you see, like Torgerson, a lap down, have already come into the pits as we're waiting on the top 3 here to make their runs into pit lane. Doesn't look like any of them are coming in right now except for the 91, and boy, the 25 really had to check up to keep from running into the back of him, and Huffman is well off the pace now after having to hit the brakes hard trying to avoid the 91 on entry.
That's going to be something that they're probably going to discuss after this one, because Huffman is not a happy camper right now.
I would not imagine that he is. Trying to look back here as now here comes the 25 into pit lane. We'll take a look at what happened now on the pit entry for number 91. Here he comes slowing well down right in the racing line and actually slid into pit lane. Might have been speeding. Was that 91 as well? We hadn't seen that. Just getting back to it now. Here's the 74. Still staying out. Roy Lehman's in the lead of this race, not willing to relinquish it just yet to pit. Rhett Tucker, who you see on screen right now, fighting with Tommy Cannon, is in second place right now.
It looks like Ryan Jones just barely got it woed down in time in the 91. But yeah, the battle, I don't know how he did it either. Yeah, it looks like your leader's coming in.
Leader Roy Lehman's is in. We saw the 23 getting around Rhett Tucker. Tucker will stay out to lead a lap. 23 on fresh tires, as is the 91 coming up behind the 00 right now. And would have to assume Rhett Tucker has got his lap led. He's going to bring it down into pit road this time.
Safe assumption, as you could see the difference there between old tires and new tires. There was no contending that move for Tucker at all.
Rhett Tucker in. This will leave the guy you see on screen right now, Jeff Chandler, in the number 33. He will take race lead. Chris Brown in the 1 behind him, sitting in second place. So these guys, they might be hurting themselves now, but as this run goes longer, they're going to have the freshest tires of the group. And right now, if pit stops were to cycle through, I believe Pogo would be your race leader at the moment. So he's got Troy Torgerson behind him.
Castleberry's been pit side, hasn't he?
On lap 8, under the caution, there is the driver of the
Oh.
02, Clint Castleberry. Some of these guys coming in, as I just mentioned, on that first caution, Justin Winters, Dale Eland, are guys that have come in. There's Troy Torgerson in the number 98. He came in on lap 42. And that difference of pit strategy we saw with the fast guys getting around the guys who had not come into pit yet, just how big a speed difference that is. Would have to think that's going to make a great difference when it comes down to just a couple of laps as well later on in the run.
It depends on how these guys have these cars set up. I mean, if you're set up for a long run, it's probably not going to be bad. If you're set up hoping for a lot of cautions in a short run race, you pretty much have shot yourself in the foot all night long.
Certainly might have done. As Roy Lehmans, you see him on screen. He is fighting for position right now. This is the back end of the top 10. Randy Bechtel in the 29 leading this group, has the 16 on the outside of him. Well, had him there for a second. This is for the 12th position, as guys still waiting to come in. Jeff Chandler in the 33, you see on screen, is your race leader. He has not brought it pit side yet, neither has the 1. The 30 of Jeff Winter as well has not brought it pit side. He's now fighting the 1, this for the 2nd position. And the 1 of Chris Brown certainly looking like he's struggling on those older tires, is going to want to get off of those soon.
Yeah, if you take a look at the last lap for Brown, and you take a look at the last lap for Lehmans, there's a 2-second difference.
And that's also
that's huge.
And you can see just a little bit of front end damage on that number 1 is Rhett Tucker. There's the 33. The 33 might be out of gas. There's Jeff Chandler was going really slow on the inside. Now brings it in. May have just been wanting a very safe pit entry. Also might have been out of fuel. That's 55 laps on that tank of fuel there for the 33.
If he wasn't bingo, he was darn close. It might have started to spit and sputter up on the banking, but once he got it back onto the flat, he was able to get some fuel and get to his pit stall.
Still waiting on the top 6 to pit. Jeff Winter, Chris Brown, Justin Winters, Dale Eland Jr., Dustin Scruggs, Daniel Dill, the 3rd place finisher in the season opener last week, brings it pit side now. As you're looking at the effective race leader, the number 4 of Jeff Pogo, and by coming in a little early, this might prove how strong the undercut here is this week, as the race leader coming into the pit cycle is, about 4 or 5 seconds behind him. There's the 74, the 91 in that battle as well, Ryan Jones. So there were the race leaders coming in. Pogo in 6th, the effective race leader at the moment.
Yeah, Pogo and Torgerson right now, you take a look at where they are. They've got a huge lead right now, almost half the distance of the entire back straightaway over Ogle. So yeah, the undercut is going to be huge tonight, as we are We are closing in on the 1/3 mark of this event. So yeah, Scruggs stays out though.
Yep, that's
in
the
the 01.
01 of Dustin Scruggs. He is the race leader. You saw Jeff Pogo and Troy Torgerson coming up behind him. Scruggs did come into pit on the caution on lap 8, as now he relinquishes the race lead, tries to keep it on the apron as he is coming in this time, does have damage. So Jeff Pogo now will take over official race lead. Troy Torgerson behind him, and then about a second and a half separates Torgerson and this man, Thomas Ogle, running in the 3rd position.
And if you take a look between your leader now and the leader when the pit cycles started, that's a 3-second gap between Roy Lehman's in the 74, currently running in 4th, and Jeff Pogo. That's how huge an advantage Pogo and Torgerson got by ducking down pit road first.
Pogo and Torgerson coming down pit road. Well, instead of telling you, how about we show you the difference between the top 7 here. As you can see, when those guys came in, how many laps they've put on their current set of tires, and Lehman staying out the longest, only has 13 laps on his current set of tires. Compare that to Jeff Pogo, who has 19 laps on his current set of tires. That will certainly help Lehman's in the long run, but if it comes down to a situation where pitting early in the end gives you this big a gap, it might be worth short pitting to go to the end.
It might be, but if you take a look, Lehman's has already bitten a full second out of Pogo's lead. And Pogo now under attack from Torgerson as Troy Torgerson throws it to the inside. And Pogo trying to fight back. It looks like they're just trying to swap spots right now. Trying to get as much distance between themselves and the rest of the field as they can. But I'm thinking it might not be for any worth right now because they're starting to get reeled in.
Yeah, that 23 of Ogle and Roy Lehman's in the 74 are coming. You see them at the right-hand part of your screen. That's how close they have come to those guys. And now the 74 of Lehman's putting a move on Ogle. That is for the 3rd position. And sitting behind them, the 55, that white car you see behind these two, not for position. The next car for position is the number 91. On screen right there, that is Ryan Jones holding down the 5th position at the moment.
And how about Luke Lafaro? We were wondering what was going on with him. He gained a couple of spots under that caution. Again, started 29th, currently running 12th. Rhett Tucker started 30th, currently running in 10th. Eric Hawley started 27th, currently running 11th. I mean, some of these fast guys that didn't put times in, they're probably kicking themselves for messing up their qualifying laps.
And these guys need a caution right now if they want to get up to the up towards the top of this field here. As Torgerson, you see on screen right now, has Jeff Pogo behind him. The 74 is making inroads. He has left the 23 of Thomas Ogle behind, but maybe not catching as much as we thought he would not that long ago.
May have gone too hard too early, but he gave up a 10th on that last lap.
So Jeff Pogo, just to put it into perspective here, this last lap, you're right, Jeff Pogo in the number 4 sitting in 2nd ran a 31.2 to Roy Lehman's 31.4. So just a little bit off, as that is Lehman's up there battling with Daniel Dill, the 3rd place finisher last week. Now Dill was one of the later cars to come in. You see that right rear damage on the 81. He was a part of that wreck that brought out the first caution back on lap 7. So he was able to stay out a little bit longer than everybody else on fresher tires, looking to get his lap back the hard way. Is the 81 currently running in the 18th position.
And we do currently have 20 cars on the lead lap, with Dill being the first one a lap down. Jeff Winter being shown as the last car on the lead lap right now.
Yep, you're right, Mike. This has been a little temperamental here tonight. So I do apologize for that. As now here comes the 81. Trying to work his way around the 4 of Jeff Pogo on the outside lane. Still not really gaining much is Roy Lehman's in the 74. There he is. Lehman's is kind of just holding station where he is. Ogle is actually matching his times. It's Ryan Jones, however, that is the one that's falling back in the number 91, about a tenth and a half, 2/10 off of the times of Lehman's and Ogle from last lap.
And Jones is kind of playing defensive right now. He's got Randy Bechtel right behind him, and you know, those guys have been slugging it out all race long so far. You know, but Bechtel looks like he's starting to get it figured out, as track temperature's already dropped 4 degrees, and it's probably going to play right into Bechtel's wheelhouse before too much longer.
You are watching round number 2 of season 5 of the USRA Cup Series, the ESBN 240 from Chicagoland Speedway. My name is Frank Marchese. Tony Trapasso in the booth with me here tonight, as he will be for the entirety of this season. And down in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, you see a sponsorship decal, or logo rather, that we have down there. That is our brand new network sponsor that we are happy to have on board with us, Die-Cast Nuts. Tony, please tell the fine folks about Die-Cast Nuts and where you can see their wonderful die-casts.
Die-Cast Nuts is an online die-cast collector community that allows its members to design the homepage how they want. You can share your collections. You can put up a wanted list. You can buy, sell, trade, barter for anything die-cast related. And you can also check out their shop area on their Facebook page, I might add. Now, it's Die-Cast Nuts with a Z, by the way. Check out their shop area if you're looking to get something special for that someone for the holiday season that's coming up.
Yeah, the holiday season certainly getting a little bit closer. You're watching the battle for the lead. Troy Torgerson in the 98, currently leading. Jeff Pogo sitting in second position in the number 4. Roy Lehman's over these last couple laps has finally made his way back up to the lead, the lead pack, I should say. He right now is in third place, right on the back end of that number 4 of Jeff Pogo.
And that goes back to what we were talking about prior to that first set of green flag pit stops. Lehman's has a long run set in the car. So yes, he might be faster. There might be people who are faster on fresher tires, but as the run wears on, look for Lehman's to march to the front, as he just made an easy one on Jeff Pogo right there coming through the 3-4 complex.
Yep, Pogo now down to the third position. You remember the stint, the pit road graphic that we had on the screen a couple of laps ago. That 74 is on the freshest tires of the group. But one of the biggest moments that happened just as that pit cycle was starting was the 25 of Alex Huffman had to hit the brakes, almost come to a stop, as Ryan Jones was slowing down in the middle of the track in turns 3 and 4 to get to pit lane. The 25, there you see him on screen, currently sitting in the 8th position right now in no man's land. He was right up with the leaders going into the caution. So that mistake by more or less the 91 has really hurt him.
I mean, you look at it, this way. It cost him about 7 seconds on track to get woed down, to not kill the 98, and then try to get back up to speed to get back around to get to his pit stall.
And that has put him well behind. Look at about it's about almost 8 seconds off of the race lead, and he has brought that down a little bit since he has come out, but you can see how close to the wall he's getting coming out of turn 2. He is really hustling that number 25 Chevrolet, trying to get back up to where he was. There's Evan Pinta in the 16, running in the 7th position, has that number 91 right ahead of him as the 29 of Bechtel gets around Ryan Jones. That would be for the 5th position. And these guys, another group that started up at the front, Bechtel starting on the pole, Pinta starting P4. Those guys have been up here battling for the lead the entire race.
But if you take a look at those 3 cars in 5th, 6th, and 6th, 7th, and no, I had it right the first time.
Yep,
5th, 6th, and 7th. They came in on 3 different laps, but yet they're still together.
Yep, they are right there.
It would be fun to see what would have happened with this whole battle had Huffman not had to have the evasive maneuvers that he had to make for self-preservation.
And we're trying to look back here. There is Troy Lehmans. He is in the lead of this race. We'll take you back now to the pass for the race lead, coming out of the tri-oval, diving down into turn number 1, fairly academic. That being your race lead, swapping hands. Torgerson almost got him back, coming off of turn 2. But as we sit right now, there you see the 74 heading into 1, your race leader.
He's definitely not having the same fall off that the rest of these guys are having.
He's had a very solid number 74 all night long. Thomas Ogle still sitting in the 4th position. He has now caught up to this group, and it wasn't that long ago Ogle was about 3 or 4 seconds behind these guys. So these guys battling it out for position after Lehman's caught up really helped that 23 out of Peach.
You also have to remember that Torgerson and Pogo have the oldest tires on track right now. Certainly it's kind of to be expected that they're towards the end of their run right now, and there's not a lot of difference between what Ogle's doing, what Lehman's doing, and what those guys are doing, but there's just enough to let Lehman's get away and enough to let Ogle get to him.
A little bit more than 40 laps, as you can see on the graphic down at the middle, the bottom of your screen there. It's a little bit more.
Ryan
than
Jones
40
is
laps.
coming pit.
Yep, there's Ryan Jones in the number 91. Let's see what he decides to do here.
Pogo's pit as well. Pogo and Ogle both going pit.
Yep, there they both are. Alex Huffman was able to get ahead of the 91 prior to the pit stop this time, so no dramatics on pit entry for him, as we will let you guys see who's doing what in the pit cycle. About to start lap 85. Roy Lehman's still in the lead and actually stretching out that lead, as there in the background flashes Troy Torgerson. He is in the 98.
That is going to give him a huge advantage. The next second place is 3.5 seconds back, and that's Randy Bechtel, your pole sitter, in the 29.
There is the number 29 on screen right now. The 3 has already come in and pit. So that is done. The 29 now slowing up. He is on his way into pit road as Roy Lehman's continuing for another lap. The 16 is in pit lane as well, and it also looks like the 00 of Rhett Tucker is in pit lane as well behind those guys. So wholesale pit stops in action right now. Luke Lafalo, who we mentioned before, this is a battle for second position here between Lafaro and Eric Holly, as those guys currently sit. Oh boy.
Something's gone horribly wrong with Rhett Tucker, because he was right up there. He was a lap down when he came pit side this time.
Might have had a speeding penalty on the last run of pit stops.
He definitely got one this time too, as they're holding him in his stall.
And take a look now at that 00 of Rhett Tucker. There you see him sitting in pit lane.
And
now for those,
Lehman's is in.
There's your leader, Roy Lehman's in as well. Looking to see what Luke Lafaro will do. Coming in, Eric Holly coming in as well. So the top three all coming in here this lap. And for those of you who don't know how the penalty system works for iRacing as far as a pit road speeding penalty goes, if you're speeding on entry, you're held in your box for an extra 35 seconds. Used to be 26. After the one of the more recent major updates, that was bumped up to 35 seconds. And if you're caught speeding on pit exit, you have to make a return trip down pit road for I believe it's a stop and go.
As Chandler inheriting the lead on that one in the 33, as I believe he stayed out.
There is Jeff Chandler. You see him on your screen. About to start lap number 90 here of 166 laps. Working on a green flag run that has been going on for a good 80 laps. At the moment here, we've had 2 green flag pit cycles, this being the second. As the guys you see on screen right now, there's Chris Brown in the 1. Right behind him is the 41 of Aaron Diefler, running in the 17th position. The 41 has come into pit.
He's leading this lap back the hard way, as he's currently being shown the first car 1 lap down. But we saw this before. Chandler and Brown were the last 2 to blink the last time we had green flag pit stops.
And part of that due to the fact that they had pit under the one and only caution we have had. But it looks as though we talked about Jeff Pogo being in a big position after being one of the first ones to pit. There you saw Thomas Ogle and Troy Torgerson. There is the gap. That is effective race lead again. So Jeff Pogo might have caught this one perfectly again, sitting in 5th position right now with the cars in 1st through 4th, having not come into pit.
I dare say he has, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say he only took 2 tires, because just the time difference between himself and everybody else is just insane right now, especially if everybody. Okay.
It shows
then,
a 14.6 second stop for Pogo, a 14.7 second stop for Ogle, a 15 second stop for Torgerson. Ogle took almost about a second longer through pit lane. And that's about the gap.
I dare say that Jeff Pogo has been force-feeding his crew Jolt Cola then, because that was one of the fastest pit stops I've seen.
He is certainly, and he's had the strategy thus far, and we're thinking maybe 2 more pit stops, or maybe, no, actually 1 more stop should get it done here comfortably if we were to stay green the rest of the way, as we're about to start lap 94, about halfway through lap 94. As there is the race leader, the number 33 of Jeff Chandler. Chris Brown, Jeff Winter, and Justin Winters are behind them, as there's the 1 getting passed by Lafaro and Tucker. Rhett Tucker, as we mentioned, having that pit road speeding penalty, and I believe, unless we're having a connection. Oh, no, it was still good. Jeff Pogo sitting in the 5th position. A little bit of a connection issue forcing my timing and scoring to go a little haywire.
Yeah, you got to feel for Tucker because he was on the move. He was moving forward, gaining spots steadily, and then he shot himself in the foot twice.
So those guys, unfortunately, mired back in the field, and with how spread out this field is, as we'll take a look at the track map just to show you where these guys all are. Looking at their initials right now, so we're following the 4. As you see where they are on the back straightaway, we'll switch it to car number now. Make it a little bit easier. So there you see the 4 going through turns 3 and 4. Guys that are not, that are somewhat shadowed, those are guys that are in pit lane. Just, you can see from that track map just how much everybody is spread out here, and that's what tends to happen on these pit cycles.
And don't look now, but business is starting to pick up for what will eventually turn into the race lead, as Ogle and Torgerson, they've got the 3 in between them and Jeff Pogo, but they're working together right now to reel him in.
And also behind them is Roy Lehmans and Randy Bechtel. They're starting to work their way up, as you see the 23 and the 98 working their way around the 3. As the 22 of Clint Castleberry rejoins on track. Still a decent gap, though. You can see the gap between Torgerson in 3rd and Lehmans in 4th, as Jeff Pogo, I'm sorry, that's Torgerson in 6th and Lehmans in 7th. It's about 2.5 seconds. It is closing down, but there is a lot of traffic in between the number 98 and 74.
There is, and the thing is, if you look, the gap between Pogo, Ogle, and Torgerson, that's starting to close in. It was about 20 car lengths. Now it's only down to maybe 12.
There you see the 33 up in front of the 74. He has come into pit, still waiting on Chris Brown, Jeff Winter, and Justin Winters to bring it down pit road. There you see Chris Brown, your race leader. Behind him is Jeff Winter in that number 30. And they are both going to stay out. All 3 of the top 3 cars came in on lap 56. And again, those are the 3 guys that came into pit under the caution flag on lap 8.
And you can see right now the difference between the haves and the have-nots as far as tires go. The guys on fresher tires are starting to break up this battle for 5th between Ogle and Torgerson, and they're putting these guys 3 wide, and you can do it here at Chicagoland, but it's not something, if you're on the outside, you're not comfortable riding that wall. Yeah, you're going to back out of it. And the worst thing you can hear in the iRacing servers, and I don't care who you are or where you are, is when your spotter says 3 wide, you're the meat.
Yep, that's
the most terrifying thing that has ever been uttered in a video game.
Especially in open lobbies, but I think right now the most terrifying thing that Torgerson and Ogle could possibly hear is you see Torgerson making a move on Ogle for effective 2nd place, is Roy Lehmans is right behind you. That's about the scariest thing that those guys could hear, and it's a reality right now. You saw that big gaggle of cars in front, but right now this is the battle here. This is for the 4th position, or effective 4th position, as Roy Lehmans looking to take over 5th right now from Thomas. Ogle is on the inside lane and should have it done going into 3, and does.
And just that simple. And
oh boy, Chris Brown sliding through pit road, around in the grass. No caution coming out. Winters in pit road as well. Still stopped in the grass, trying to get that thing refired. Finally does. And Tony, we've talked about it just a couple of laps ago. Those iRacing updates really changing a lot of things. And that's another one. Before that last major update, that would have been a caution. Instead, we stay green.
We stay green, but when Chris Brown finally gets to his pit stall, he's going to be held there for a while because he was doing about 70 when he hit the line, and they're going to bang him for an unsafe pit entry too.
So penalties lining up on top of penalties as if it didn't take him long enough to get into the box. Now he's going to have to sit there and lament as Jeff Pogo holds a 1 second lead, getting passed by guys that have come into pit road more recently than he has. Troy Torgerson trying to hold off Roy Lehmans, who has had the undoubted best car of the night so far. That 74 is hungry, and he could smell the lead a lot quicker, by the way, than he could during the last run.
Absolutely, and you know, that's something that you're going to see. He didn't have the finish he was hoping for last week at Michigan. He's looking to rebound tonight at Chicagoland, and he's just been the class of the field all night long, and especially when the tires start to wear off. He's fast on fresh tires, and there might be some faster guys, but once the tires have gone away, my money's on Lehmans if we stay green.
We have 60 laps to go as it stands, working lap 107 of 166. You are watching round 2 action from the United Sim Racing Association Cup Series Season 5 here on ESBN. Frank Marchese, Tony Trapasso in the booth calling the action tonight, as we will all season long for the USRA. Right now, Jeff Pogo sitting in the race lead. There he is in the number 4. Troy Torgerson and Roy Lehmans behind the number 9. There's Torgerson going to the inside of the 9 to try to put him a little bit further away from getting one of his laps back the hard way. As now that will open the door for the 74. He got a great run coming out of the tri-oval, goes to the outside, forces Torgerson up, and then cuts down to the inside. Great move from Lehmans in the 74.
I mean, I know we're inside 60 to go, but these guys are starting to get chippy.
Boy, oh boy.
Especially the guys on new tires coming up on the guys that are on older tires and don't realize it. So
it's somewhat of a rite of passage on iRacing, because you're going to get run over by somebody on new tires, whether you want to or not at some point.
Right, but the thing is I'm not even on track as a driver, and I've already bent the armrest on the wheelchair I'm in right now twice. Just from white knuckling, going, oh, are they going to make it? So,
and that's what we talk about a lot is lap cars. It's not necessarily just these guys getting out of the way, and we could say it for guys that are in the pits. Is now there you see the 6 getting into the wall. That's Dale Eland. We just saw him come into the pits, get around the leaders, and into the wall goes the 6 of Eland Jr. coming out of turn 2. That's going to push him back.
Yeah, he had a head of steam, had just gotten his lap back, and now he's got an ironing board for a right side of his race car.
Still, though, you can see the difference in the car on the tires. And going back to what I was saying, it's not necessarily let me by. It's more of just be predictable when I get there. That's the biggest thing, and that's how most of these wrecks happen, is the guy in front just not being predictable. As boy, oh boy, Eland put a heck of a move on the 4 on those fresh tires, and unfortunately for Pogo, that's going to bring Roy Lehmans right up to the back of him, but Lehmans has the 30 of Jeff Winter hounding his rear end.
That could have ended a lot more poorly than it did, because I don't think Pogo realized just how quick Eland was coming. And when he went to go take his normal racing line, yes, the leader does have, control of the field, but, if somebody's coming up on you with a 10-mile-an-hour difference in speed coming through the corner, you got to use your head at times, and that could have ended poorly. It's a heads-up driving by Eland to not wreck at least 2 race cars there.
There's the leader right there. This is going to be the battle for the race lead here. This is the 4 of Jeff Pogo versus the 74 of Roy Lehmans. Behind him, behind them coming up is Dustin Scruggs in the number 1. He came in on lap, I believe, 108, somewhere in that range. As there goes the 01 of Scruggs around the outside. Still these two battling for the lead, and there you see the 52 of Justin Winters started in the 2nd position, now still a lap down, trying to get one of his laps back as he's also off cycle. Winters coming in on lap 104.
See a lot of damage on the right rear quarter panel of Winters 52. And he was involved in that early melee, and
the apron there.
Clipped the apron there. He's lucky to get away with that one, but all this battling between the lap or the cars trying to, and whoa, hang on to her.
A big slide as Torgerson in the wall in 1 and 2. The 4 has gotten passed by Roy Lehmans, and Torgerson also had quite an eventful run into turn 1. And I believe what you were going to say is all the battling with lap cars has brought 3rd, 4th, and 5th, the 23, 29, and 98, right up to the top 2.
Well, I like working with you. It's like, kismet or whatever you want to call it.
A psychic, pardon me.
No, psychic.
Sorry.
Wow.
It's one of those easy
so
ones
you
to
get your
miss.
hate mail coming, folks. That's Frank Marchese, care of ESBN Towers, New York, P.O. Box OU 812.
Roy Lehman's getting away now from Jeff Pogo after that intriguing run through turn 1 a couple of laps ago. Lehmans looks as though he might put some laps down on some guys here. That's the the 47 of Tommy Cannon, who I believe is the last car on the lead lap at the moment, running in the 14th position. Battling as well with, I believe, it shows 55. It is the 55. That's Zach Calloway in that white number 55.
And if there's any talented painters out there, Callaway's looking for sponsors.
That's certainly a good way to do it.
And don't look now, but if you're Tommy Cannon, you're looking in your rearview mirror going, oh, no. Because you know what's coming.
And what's coming is that 74 of Roy Lehmans, your race leader, should be coming up on pit stops here within the next 10 laps or so. I've only had one caution here tonight. That was on lap 7 after a big melee coming out of turn 2. Took out a good portion of the second half of the field. Beyond that, we have been green flag racing for about 110 laps now, as you can see in the background. We're going to get to it right now. Randy Bechtel is fighting with Thomas Ogle. That is for the 3rd position. Those guys battling hard side by side, have been. A little bit of contact coming into the tri-oval as Bechtel and Ogle having a pleasant discussion about who should be the holder of the 3rd position.
Well, at least they haven't tried to give us a physics lesson where, proving the fact that 2 solid objects can't occupy the same part of the space-time continuum at the same moment in time.
You also see Troy Torgerson. Oh, we got
there we
some
go.
cars. Yep, there's Pogo in. Jeff Pogo is in. The 23 of Ogle is in. Torgerson in. So this is kind of what we expected. We have 33 laps to go. You are well within the ability to make it from here on fuel. And those guys are the first ones to duck on off. Lehman's is staying out as he's done the entirety of this race. Came in last on lap 87. And he's not going to take any chances. He's bringing that number 74 in now.
Pogo overshot his pit stall.
So that's going to put Pogo back, unfortunately. There's Alex Huffman just making his way into his box. Troy Torgerson coming out. Torgerson is actually going to jump the 23 and the 4 on pit exit. So that should leave Torgerson with effective race lead, depending upon where Roy Lehmans comes out, and he is just getting to his stall in the 74. 29, you just saw flash past the screen, is in as well. That leaves Jeff Chandler for the third time tonight on pit cycle in the race lead, with Luke LaFaro right behind him for second.
Here's the thing: if those guys were smart, and of course I'm talking about the Torgerson, Ogle, and Pogo. If they were smart, they would work together to try to just draft and push and make sure that they put as much distance between themselves and Lehman's as absolutely possible, so that when this does cycle out, he's got an uphill battle.
Unfortunately, that's not going to come to. Unfortunately, that's not going to come to fruition, as Lehman's was able to successfully cover off the 3 guys at short pit, and now Lehman's will have effective race lead as Torgerson, Ogle, and Pogo are battling with each other now. Chandler and LaFaro, you see on the bottom of your screen, are in pit road at the moment. Jeff Winter in the number 30, cycling out to the race lead, with Justin Winters right behind him in the number 52 for second. About a second and a half, actually.
We know that Winters, and Cannon are all on a different pit cycle. I believe the three of them still have to come down pit road one more time.
Yes, those guys will have to come in. And one guy we haven't talked about at all here in this race is Jared Hagedorn in the number 2. There you see him currently running in the 9th position in that number 2. He has had a solid day. Or it might not be the 9th position, because my timing and scoring is starting to have fun with me again. But Hagedorn has really had a quiet night, and we say it a lot here on ESPN. Just because you have a quiet night doesn't necessarily mean you've had a bad night.
No, sometimes a quiet night is a good thing. And Jared Hagedorn's going to become one of those ninjas that we sometimes talk about, where you make it through the whole race and go, where the heck did he just come from?
There he is, right there, running in the 8th position right now, as Justin Winters, here he comes down into pit road, pitting from the race lead. And Tommy Cannon, who we were just talking about possibly going a lap down in that number 47, on that inside lane, is sitting in your race lead right now. Actually, is it Jeff Winter? Oh, no, Winter's still out. My goodness. Timing and scoring is not my friend tonight.
Yeah, Jeff Winter currently showing the way, yep. But if Cannon stays out, because I believe you said he was in on, 109 or 108?
Cannon was in on 89. Here comes Winter in the 30, and unfortunately for Winter, as he knocks over the commitment cone, that might be an unsafe pit entry.
Well, let me keep an eye on that for you.
So that will now put Tommy Cannon in the race lead. See, I was right, just it was a lap early. As Cannon moves up into the point. Also looking at Thomas Ogle now. Ogle has gotten around Roy Lehmans. As you see, this is your top 5 when the pit stops cycle out. Ogle right now, your effective race lead. This is his time to get out and try to run away from the 74 and hope these guys behind him start fighting.
Thing is, too, this is the first time that Ogle has had clean air in front of him, relatively clean air. because he's usually been the chaser, not the chasee. So it's good to see him, going to be showing the way when Cannon, and there goes Cannon pit side that time.
Yep, Cannon is in, so that will promote the 23 to the race lead. Thomas Ogle, right now your race leader. Roy Lehman's in second, Jeff Pogo third, Troy Torgerson fourth, Randy Bechtel in the fifth position in the 29. Bechtel started on the pole here tonight. Ogle up 12 spots to put him number one.
So, yeah, I mean, nothing short of amazing that he's been able to climb that far. But getting back to what we were talking about earlier, guys deeper in the field, Luke LaFaro started 29th, currently running 13th, so hats off to him for that much of a climb.
Eric Holly starting, I believe, is the 27th position. He's up to 11th. As well, Daniel Dill, there you see him in the number 81. He was a part of that first lap 7 incident that brought out the one and only caution here this evening. Dill finishing third, as we mentioned several times in the broadcast tonight. Last week at Michigan, having a solid night after that incident. And Alex Huffman, right now the first car that is not up with that top 5 group, running in 6th position, has the 16 right on him, though, in a battle for 6th.
With as tight as the point standings is, I mean, yes, we've only had one race, but every point has to count. And with as many people that have led laps tonight, any bonus point you can get is going to help. And, we've already seen that last week's race winner isn't here tonight. So, that might be one spot in the playoff round that is going to be left open now that, he's not able to make all the races.
So you see it's the 91 on screen again. He was fighting up with the race lead, and over the course of this green flag cycle here has started to fall back. He's down in the 8th position right now, is the number 91, Luke LaFaro. There he is, fighting with the number 33 of Jeff Chandler. Those two came in on the same lap. And the 1 of Chris Brown there as well. I believe Brown has yet to pit, so that 1 will be looking pit side here momentarily, but still the battle is for the race lead as Thomas Ogle currently leading the way with 30 laps to go, about to be 29 to go, wondering if he has enough race car to be able to hold off Roy Lehman's in the 74.
We're about to find out because, Lehman's, we haven't seen him in traffic a lot tonight, but when we have, he's put that race car exactly where he's needed to put it. And, he's also got to worry about Jeff Pogo, because Pogo's had a strong car all night as well. Any one of the top 5 right now between Ogle, Lehman's, Pogo, Torgerson, and Bechtel, all of those guys are right within striking distance of each other.
You saw down at the bottom of the screen, that was the number 41 of Aaron Diefler that was coming out of pit road. Daniel Dill in the 81 now being lapped, as that has allowed Roy Lehman's a line onto the inside. Roy Lehman's takes the lead away from the 23 as some of these guys in the back of the field starting to make pit stops and come out in front of these guys. That is promoted to 74 up to the race lead. Ogle now falling into the clutches of Pogo. And we were talking about Hagedorn just a moment ago in the 2. Here he is on fresh tires trying to get a lap back.
One of his 2 laps back is, you can see just the difference that tires make as, Lehman's currently showing the way, and Hagedorn is just going to go by him when he feels like it, probably at some point during turn 1. just due to the fact that he's got the fresher rubber and he can carry more speed through the corner.
You can see that little bit of a wiggle from the 2 of Hagedorn. That's that 74 holding him up. Because of those fresher tires, the 2 goes right to the inside. Is going to have no problem with the grip on that on those new tires. Gets right around the 74 of Lehman's, who is now the second car in line. And while all of this has happened, we've seen the 98 and the 29 fall off of this group. There is Troy Torgerson. He's actually fallen behind the 72 of Douglas Wolcott, who just recently came in a couple of laps ago, so he's going to be making a march up to the front here.
Well, he's going to try to have to, because he's got to figure it out, and he's got to figure it out quick, because we are quickly running out of time. And Bechtel, Pogo, and Ogle are starting to walk away from him. I'm thinking time is starting to run out for Torgerson right now.
Yep, only 24 laps to go, as there you see the 41 on the outside lane trying to clear these leaders with older tires around the outside. Now goes to the inside of Ogle, and that's going to hurt Ogle a lot, because not only is that going to move him off of the 74 of Lehman's, that's going to put him right into defense mode against the number 4 of Pogo, and also the 52 of Winters is there as well.
Well, Lehman's had to get out of the way of the 41 as well. That's let these guys close right back in, and here comes the 72 to try to do the same thing. And you know, these guys on fresher tires that are a lap or more down have to realize you're racing the guys who are racing for the race win. You've got to get your lap back, yes, but you then have to go another mile and a half, catch them again to have a shot at it, where these guys are slugging it out right now. And there's not a lot of respect being shown to the top 5.
No, and you can see with all of the barging around, trying to get laps back and trying to make faster tires work, that has split this front group up quite considerably now. Half a second between Thomas Ogle and Roy Lehman's, the battle for first positions. There's the 71, hard in the wall going into turn 1. That's David Carpenter on the outside lane. Now 3 wide, trying to keep it out of the way, and fortunately does. Still no caution coming around to 20 laps to go here at Chicago. Oh, the 52, watch it. Wow. Incredible how they were able to keep that straight.
These guys keep doing this. Somebody's going to owe me new handles for my wheelchair. And
And
there
the
we go.
caution does come out now. As we will try to find out where this one was. This is just our second caution of the evening. Looking to see who this might have something to do with.
I don't have it.
We'll take a look and see here if we can see anything on this here. I don't think we will. No, unfortunately. So the caution does come out. Luke Lafaro, there you see him in the number 20. In 9th position. Now these guys, again, who have had good cars. Lafaro, Ryan Jones, not Troy Torgerson, Alex Huffman. These guys are all going to get another chance, something they haven't had since the beginning of the first pit cycle, and they're going to have fresh tires, I believe, in order to do it.
And that's something that they've been hoping for, you know, to be able to just have a shot at it. And I mean, we're going to be looking at what, about a 10-lap sprint to the, or sorry, 20-lap sprint, or we're working lap 20, right? Or 20 to go right now.
So about 17 laps or so to the finish of this race, as we got cars in pit road right now. We'll see who wins the race off of pit road. might have a decent chance at winning this race overall. As you see, a lot of these guys, they're all going to be taking 4 tires here. Coming out, it's going to be the 74 of Lehman's winning the race off pit road. The 29 with the benefit of having that first pit stall right up there now in 3rd position coming out of pit road.
And this is getting that time where you're just going to go like hell. You're going to get everything you can ask for out of your engine, out of your tires, and apologize to the parts later. Everything you've got left, you're going to lay it out on the table. You have to.
This would certainly be the time to do it, as we are under caution for only the 2nd time tonight here at Chicagoland Speedway, with only about 17 to 15 laps to go. When we go back to green flag racing, there's the 74 of Roy Lehmans. He is the race leader. 23 of Thomas Ogle in 2nd, Randy Bechtel in 3rd, Jeff Pogo 4th, Troy Torgerson 5th, Alex Huffman in the number 25. You see him right below our camera. Is going to get another crack at it. He is up to 6th position. Ryan Jones in 7th, Luke Lafaro in 8th, Chris Brown 9th, Eric Holly making up the top 10 positions here as we get set for for what we hope is one final showdown here with about 17 laps to go in this race.
Yeah, the lights are getting ready to go out on the pace car. Ogle has shown that he has a better short run car because he was able to get by Lehman's earlier. The question is there enough time for Lehman's to have his setup come around? Did he make an adjustment under that pit stop? That's the other question.
That certainly is going to be something to watch. And also, you're looking at guys who haven't been up towards the front. The 25 is getting a shot back up at the front again. The 91 is also up here. And plus, we've got new guys here up at the front that we haven't seen, like the 20, the 8, who have been pining for a caution flag ever since that first one put them back. This is their golden opportunity as well to try to sneak a win out of here.
Absolutely. This is going to be fun to see what the 20 of Lafaro can do. He's already gained 21 spots. Does he have enough time to gain a couple of more? We're about to find out as the field works its way into the 3-4 complex. Lehman's going to have the button this time. And, he's going to have to go, but Ogle and Pogo are hoping for the restarts of their careers right now. And Randy Bechtel is looking to make up for what happened earlier on in the event as the pace car is in, and here we go. Lehman's holds him down, finally pulls the trigger. Pogo almost gets into the back end of Ogle as the green flag comes out. We are back underway.
You can see Alex Huffman, 15 laps to go. He is right on the back of the 4 of Pogo. Pogo pinching him right down along that inside line, but the 25, who has been begging for a caution since the first pit cycle put him back, is now back in the mix and showing the speed that he has as now he goes under Ogle in the 23, forcing to keep him on the outside line. That 25 is going to be a major contender at the end of this. Also, look at Chris Brown in the 1 following the 25 through.
He's trying to anyways. That outside lane's not getting it done right now. The inside lane seems to be having a little bit better head of steam. If you got Bechtel, Huffman, and even Lehman's is down there right now. But here comes the 23 of Ogle on the high side and hauling off into turn number 3, Frank.
Able to keep it wound up on that outside lane was the 23. The 74 of Lehman's cuts his momentum off. He has to come back down the track to block off the 29. That 74 has to make his car about 5 or 6 lanes wide in some parts of this track. Not able to do it as the 23 gets back to his outside, having to block up the number 29, and the 25 makes a big block on the one of Brown going down the back straightaway, coming to 12 to go.
Block on the 25 as well. And don't look now, but here comes Pogo in the Fox Shocks number 4.
There you see the 4 on the outside lane, second car just as he was on the restart. That 23 on the outside lane, the 74 still the race lead, pushing up the track is Lehman's in that 74. That's going to hurt his momentum. The 23 might have a chance to clear, but that 74 is going to sail it down into turn 3. A lot of close racing coming to 11 to go as the 25 slides up the hill. They're wrecking behind them. It's the 8 and the 6. Wrecking behind, still no caution, as those guys were able to keep it straight. Holly and the 6 of Eland getting involved in it. Back up to the front, though. Lehman's getting a shot from the 29 and the 25, looking to take advantage.
23 to the point as the 4 gave him a great shove going into turn number 3.
Ooh, there they go! There they go!
Under caution.
Wow. Oh, the 1 hits the wall hard right into Torgerson that gets Dill in the 81. And it was only a matter of time, and we've seen the 74 move up the track a couple of times, just arrow push. And unfortunately, they were just running way too close together in order to make that work. And that will be caution number 3, as we have several incidences here to show you. Boy, oh boy. Well, first we'll try to see what happened with Eland and Holly. As Holly pushes up the track in 3 and 4. Those two collide and go sliding through the infield. And then here's the incident that brought out the caution flag. As, unfortunately, I had the wrong party there. There we go. Let's get it back again here. You can see that 74 push up the track, then wiggle, and then it was on from there.
It looked like net code because the 25 was close enough. I originally thought the 25 may have, put the chrome horn to him, but it really just looks like net code.
We've seen several of those incidences. There you see the 98 of Torgerson. Let's see what happens through his eyes. You see that wiggle, and Torgerson, unfortunately, in the 98 just had nowhere to go. You see the 1 get hit hard, and then Torgerson just clips Dill coming around the back end. And boy, that 9 got very close to being a casualty of this as well.
You got to feel for Jeff Pogo. He was racing hard and just got annihilated. And that car caught more airtime than a skateboard at the X Games, and ended up on its lid. So that's really our first, thank God this is a simulator moment of the night.
Second big wreck of the evening. Only our 3rd caution, though, as we are going to most likely be getting the green flag with about 5 or 6 laps to go. We're working on lap 158 right now, as this night is still far from over. You see the 20 of LaFaro. He's gotten up here. We've seen the 33 of Jeff Chandler up at the front here at several different portions of the night, but on pitch strategy, he is up there because he has a fantastic car right now and was able to get around that wreck.
He was, and him and LaFaro have just been on a steady march all night long. Eric Holly's going to be restarting within striking distance after starting 27th. And then you've got Justin Winters in the 52, back within striking distance. Ryan Jones in the 91, back within striking distance. Evan Pinta in the 16, back within striking distance. So, I mean, this race is far from over.
Yeah, it most certainly is far from over. As that 25, though, Alex Huffman, we saw how good he was at the beginning of this race, and just on that run alone of about 4 or 5 laps, reminded us again of just how good that car is as we're about to go green here this next time. That 25 flew right up through the field, and fortunately for him was in the very bottom lane as all of that went down.
Yeah, he definitely had that car in the right place. Unfortunately, though, your pole sitter, Randy Bechtel, he's got a little bit of damage. He caught a piece of that one as cars were spinning in front of him. So it's just a slight crinkle, but it's still there, and you got to wonder if that's going to affect him in traffic at all.
We're hoping it doesn't, as lights are out on the pace car. Heading through 3 and 4, it'll be Thomas Ogle, Alex Huffman. The front row, the 29 of Randy Bechtel, Luke LaFaro. In row 2, Jeff Chandler and Evan Pinta in row 3. Some guys that we heard at the beginning of the race finally getting back up towards the front. Some of the guys that have been up at the front not there anymore. Pace car makes the move off, and we are back to racing. 6 laps to go here at Chicago.
And Ogle just did exactly what he needed to do. He got the jump on Huffman, and here comes Bechtel, though. Bechtel set quick time in qualifying, and now he's hungry. But he's
talked about that draft. Boy, oh boy, the 33 of Chandler trying every way he can to get to the inside of the 16. A little bit of nudge through 3 and 4. 5 laps to go.
If that nudge had been any harder, we'd be back under caution.
Yeah, give him a nice little wallop.
Yeah, there's a wow in that back bumper right now. Meanwhile, Ogle, he's got to do what we saw the 74 of Lehman's do earlier. He's got to make that car about 20 feet wide.
We talked about how much that draft could possibly hurt at the end and how important that inside line is going to be, and we've seen these guys here in the closing stages protect that inside line with their lives as the 29 and the 23 have a body slam moment. That for the race lead. The 25 around goes the 33. Caution is going to come out again. We are in green, white, checkered territory, as there is the 33 backwards down the back straightaway. The 74 involved in the 8 in it as well.
Well, with what happened between Ogle and Bechtel, that was Bechtel getting to the inside and Ogle going, yeah, no, I'm not letting you back up off the apron.
Yep,
yeah, you are. Plunk.
You're going to have to at some point, as we'll go back and take a look at what brought out this caution. Is the 91 on that inside line. 33 tried to pinch it down. Unfortunately, couldn't get pinched any further. As we'll now take a look at what happened between Ogle and Bechtel. Or, I'm sorry, Ogle and Bechtel, I was right. Let's take a look back. Oh, pardon me, it's wrong incident there. Oh, there's the caution. Another look at the caution that brought our 4th caution of the evening is... Unfortunately, SDK is being SDK again. It's been very temperamental here over these last couple of weeks, and it's calmed down. And now, unfortunately, we're having a rough night with the overlay tonight. So we do apologize for that. But Tony, we are in green, white, checker territory here.
And I would like to point out to our fans that sometimes we see 2, sometimes we see 3. They're giving them 1 shot at this.
So there we go.
So they've got to survive. When the green flag comes out, they've got to survive a mile and a half. The leader has to take the white flag so that we'll end under checker conditions. If the leader does not get to the start-finish line before all hell breaks loose, we're going to end under caution, and it is what it is. But yeah, this is nail biting time. If you're if you're Tom Ogle in 23, you've got to get the restart of your life. You're Randy Bechtel, you're kicking yourself for getting by Alex Huffman, because now you've got to start in one of the hardest positions to start in, and it's outside row number 1. And because you can't see the guy next to you. Huffman is probably in the catbird seat right now. All he's got to do is not chunk the start.
And Huffman will be starting on the inside for this restart. You're watching round number 2 of Season 5 for the United Sim Racing Association. Frank Marchese and Tony Trapasso in the booth calling the action, as we will all season long for the USRA, and proud to be. On the bottom left-hand side of the screen there, you see our brand new network sponsor of diecastnuts.com. Tony, please tell the fine folks about what you can find on diecastnuts.com.
Diecast Nuts is a collector community for everything diecast. Buy, sell, trade, share, share your collection. On their Facebook page as well, Diecast Nuts with a Z, that Nuts with a Z, you can find a shop area where, holidays are coming, folks, and what better thing to say to the gearhead in your life than, get them something from Diecast Nuts.
So that website being a combination of forum and shop.
Yes, they have a website, diecastnuts.com. They also have a Facebook page. So Facebook, Diecast Nuts. And it's Nuts with a Z, not an S.
Spelled exactly the way it is in the logo as we get set to go green, white, checkered racing here. We just crossed the line to complete lap 166, or to start lap 166. So we are at official race distance here. We will go 2 more laps of free racing here as we get set to go. The 23 of Thomas Ogle on the inside lane, Randy Bechtel on the outside lane in second, Alex Huffman in third, Evan Pinta in fourth, Luke Lafaro in fifth, Aaron Diefler, who we've seen several times here tonight, up into the 6th position. A fantastic result for Diefler if he can keep that number 41 up here.
Absolutely, and we've seen him run well all night. It's just he started back 22nd and chunked his qualifying, and he was on the back foot all night long. And he's teammates with Bechtel, so look for those two to hopefully hook together.
So we're getting set to restart this race for the final time. One attempt at a green-white checkered is all these guys get. Pace car ducks off. Ogle bolts. Green-white checkered. There's the green.
Bechtel and Huffman side by side trying to figure this one out. They got 3 miles to get it sorted as Ogle showing the way. And don't look now, but Evan Pinta in that 16 trying to make it happen on the low lane right now as he throws it to the inside of Huffman. Pinta trying to get onto the podium, and here we go, battle for the lead, Frank.
Yep, that's Huffman going into the lead on the inside lane. We saw how good that 25 was on the short run. That 16 getting a weave on as we head on to the final lap. There is Alex Huffman back in the lead that he held at the beginning of this race. The 41 and the 23 come together in one.
Yeah, that was trying to go 3 wide in an area where you probably don't want to do it, and they did it anyways. Huffman, Pinta, and Ogle at the stripe. Ogle dropping back right now, though, as
coming off of corner number 4, it will be the 25 of Alex Huffman winning the ESBN 240 at Chicagoland. And from how long a green flag run we had and from how far back he was, about as improbable a win 40 laps ago than you would have thought.
That was an amazing drive, and keeping his cool like that and being able to battle back like he did, it's good to see that happen.
So we'll be waiting on our post-race interviews here from the top three finishers. Top three being Alex Huffman, Aaron Diefler, and the 41 comes out of nowhere and finishes in the second position, and Evan Pinta up in third position. Thomas Ogle, who led going into the green-white checkered, comes home in seventh position after the nudge.
Yeah, that was kind of a wild thing there towards the end, and you hate to see it happen because Ogle was strong all night, and to have a race end that way, you kind of got to feel for the guy.
Yeah, so we're waiting on the interviews to take place, and Tony will have Alex Huffman once we get that ready. As Tony has Alex Huffman with him, your winner here tonight.
Alex Huffman, you got shuffled back at the start of this thing. You battled back all night long. You kept your head up. Didn't put a tire wrong all race long after we started to go green flag pit stops. Congratulations on the victory, sir.
His mic is
Hello,
not on,
Alex.
unfortunately.
You got your mic muted, bud.
So we'll hopefully we'll get to your race winner here in just a second. As again, just a fantastic race here tonight. That long green flag run that we had in the beginning of this race, it set the stage for what we thought was going to be a win, and then just as it seems to always be, there's one late race caution that just completely changes the tenor of the race.
We've seen that happen time and time again, and unfortunately, the guys that if you would have asked me to put money on this race 20 laps ago, the guys that I would have bet on, unfortunately, none of them are on the podium right now.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we're seeing in our chat here, unfortunately, Alex Huffman is not going to be able to conduct a post-race interview with us, which is incredibly unfortunate. We'll try to get him prior to the race next week at North Wilkesboro, as so he can run through his incredible drive. But I guess right now we will move to the second place finisher, Aaron Diefler. And Tony, you missed Huffman. Let's try to get Aaron in here with you.
You started 22nd and just kept slugging away at it all night long, and probably not the finish you wanted, but all things considered, you can't be too disappointed putting it on the podium tonight.
No, not at all. I made a mistake on that first round of stops there and got a speeding penalty, so I just had to be patient and wait for the opportunity.
Well, talk us through that last round of green flag pit stops. We saw that you were really mixing it up with the guys that were running towards the front, and then all hell broke loose around you.
I just had to keep pace with everybody just in case that caution came out, and that's all I had to do. I had no choice but to drive as hard as I could.
Well, I mean, of course, after a speeding penalty, that's kind of to be expected. But just excellent job tonight, and making sure that you were able to put it on the podium and get those all important points as we move forward with the season. And I just lost my schedule. I don't know where we are next week.
North Wilkesboro.
Thank you. Moving from the mile and a half here in Chicagoland to one of the most historic tracks that we're going to visit all season long. Your thoughts going to the short track at Wilkesboro next week?
I'm excited. I think that package specifically plays towards my favor more. I like the high horsepower, low downforce. So I'm pretty excited about that. We'll see how that plays out.
All right. Well, Aaron, anybody you want to thank before we let you go?
I'd just like to thank Payday Racing and USRA for putting this on, and you guys for broadcasting. Do a good job.
All right. Well, Aaron, looking forward to seeing you next week at Wilkesboro, and best of luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
That was your second place finisher here. And it's gonna take a second here, so we're gonna jump down. Well, I'm gonna jump down here. We're gonna get a word in with our winner here. Alex Huffman is having a little bit of an issue with Discord not playing nice with him right now. So we are in now with Alex Huffman. Alex, an improbable win about 40 laps ago. Congratulations on the race here tonight.
Thank you. Can you hear me now, though?
Yes, we got you, bud.
All right. Yeah, after a couple of pit road mistakes on entry under green flag, I guess that caution really saved me the chance at running for a winner.
Yeah, what happened there with it? Just looked like the 91 just stopped for the pit box, stopped to enter pit road right in the middle of the track, and that's really unfortunate when you're the one stuck behind it.
Yeah, I was pitting in the same time, and I'm in VR, and I couldn't see his text chat that he was pitting in, and I just didn't see him going. I didn't predict him going to be able to stop like that, so I had to lock it up to avoid him, and then made another mistake later on, another green flag stop, and just missed it myself. So I'm glad to overcome it, though. I qualified up front at least and led laps early, so I was glad to counter last week because that was terrible for me.
Well, and you're a very honest man because we completely missed the second pit road entry mishap, so you got away with that one.
Ooh, good.
Going into North Wilkesboro next weekend, we've seen you at these two bigger tracks. You've had a lot of success at Michigan. You had obviously the most success here at Chicago. What are your thoughts going on to the short track at North Wilkesboro next week?
I'm going in with a lot of confidence. I prefer short tracks over these mile and a halves and draft package tracks. I like where you can get some separation from people, and the high horsepower really I love because you always have to play with the throttle, play with your braking, and it's just constantly wrestling the car around a track.
All right. Anyone you want to thank before we let you go and celebrate your victory?
I got to thank Alan's Body Shop, of course, on the hood, my grandpa. All my friends and family that may be watching this, you guys at ESBN, the guys over at USRA for allowing me to run this with them, my cousin Justice for keep telling me to keep digging there at the end of this, and he tried to get a top 5. He came home with 6, so I'm glad to see that for him too.
All right, there is your race winner tonight, Alex Huffman. Bud, congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, so that was Alex Huffman, and Tony will now have our third place finisher of the evening here tonight, Evan Pinta.
And all things considered, you can't be too disappointed with a podium finish tonight, sir.
Oh, I can. I was definitely not a top 3 car all night. I qualified 4th. So, and as soon as the first run progressed, I slowly dropped back to probably where I should have been, which is probably like a 6th to 8th place car, and slapped the wall a few times and thought I was going to be screwed over in certain pit stops. Had some not really good pit stops throughout the race, but caught a caution and was able to bounce back with a good restart and get a jump and get in the inside of on that final restart and try and do a lot of blocking. Those last few restarts, I had a lot of blocking. I know I pulled a big block on the 33 down the back stretch, almost down to the grass. But that's just what you got to do with this package.
You were 8 different kinds of sideways at one point in the closing laps of this event. Just talk us through what was going through your mind when you saw the melees take place and you realized that you were steadily climbing through the field because of it?
Yeah, well, I mean, I saw when I was coming off of four the first time when we had some trick shots going on up in the air off of four. I just saw the 74 and the four in the air, and I was just praying nobody would slide back down and just collect me. So through that, I was like, all right, I think that knocked out how about half the guys, and then I thought about the guys that had just got the free pass, so they were going to get fresh tires and they were going to be up there. Like Aaron, I know he was going to be fast through there, so. As the people kept wrecking out in those wrecks, the people that had fresher tires than the rest of us just kept getting closer and closer. So I kind of had to watch both sides of it and make sure to keep the guys coming up with fresh tires behind me and avoid the wrecks in front and behind me. So,
Well, Evan, switching gears, we go from a mile and a half here to the short track that is North Wilkesboro next week. Your thoughts going to that track?
oh, I absolutely love Wilkesboro. Any car, just love the track. So I am pretty excited to go there. Really love these group of guys so far in these first two races. I know we got a couple new guys in here. They seem that they can keep it going for long green flag runs, and I'll be excited to run in those. So I think it'll be a really good race, not only to be a broadcast, but for us to race in it, and I look forward to it.
Well, it's definitely going to be a challenge to keep it green on the short track, but I think if anybody can do it, you guys can, because you've done nothing short of impress me as an entire league this season. So, Evan, best of luck to you next week. Is there anybody you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, I painted up this patriotic scheme for Veterans Day. Both my grandparents on both sides of my family were in. One was in the Army and one was in the Navy. So just made this to honor them and all the veterans out there. And I'd like to thank just Fanic Robotics and Automatic Handling for being a sponsor. And just you guys for broadcasting and putting this thing on. We really appreciate it.
All right, Evan, again, congratulations on the podium. We'll see you next week in Wilkesboro.
Yeah.
All right, so that was Evan Pinta, your third place finisher, and Tony, just an incredible night, a very fun night here tonight with the guys here at the USRA. A couple technical difficulties here and there tonight, but fortunately we got it all settled down and put on and saw one heck of a race.
Absolutely. I mean, with the performance that these guys have put on track for the past 2 weeks, I'm over the moon right now that they have chosen ESBN to be their home to bring the action for the foreseeable future. So, just hats off to the entire league. Battling going on all race long throughout the entire standings. There was a battle going on somewhere, and these guys are just class acts behind the wheel and off the track too.
Yeah, they certainly have been absolutely fantastic to have on board. But we will go now through the race results before we get out of here. Tonight, race results tonight. Alex Hoffman, Aaron Diefler, and Evan Pinta, the top three, who you just heard from. Luke Lafaro coming home in P4. Randy Bechtel in fifth position. Justin Winters, who started up towards the front, had a big move backwards early on, is able to rebound for sixth position. Thomas Ogle in seventh. Cody Levitt is in finishes in eighth position tonight. Jared Hagerdorn, pardon me, my goodness, comes home in seventh position. Ryan Jones eighth. Jamie Leach coming home in 11th. Eric Holly 12th. Mike Mack in 13th, and Mack, I believe he started in stone dead last tonight, so a very good race from the driver of the 21. Tommy Cannon in 14th, Dave Carpenter 15th, Dale Elan Jr. 16th, Zach Calloway 17th, and Stephen Holmes finishing in the 18th position tonight.
Dustin Scruggs coming home in 19th. Daniel Dill in 20th. 21st going to Ray Lehman's after we saw him have that issue earlier on. Doug Wolcott in 22nd. John Leach in 23rd. 24th going to Jeff Winter. Jeff Chandler in 25th. Clint Castleberry in 26th. 27th going to Chris Brown. Troy Torgerson, not the night he was hoping for, coming home in 28th. Jeff Pogo in 29th. Larry Poling in 30th. 31st going to Rhett Tucker. Jason Young in 32nd. 33rd to Chase Berry. And Robert Dudley, the first one to put it on the hauler, in 34th.
Yeah, and that will do it for us here this evening. But before we go, just had a little bit of news about a half hour before race time, and that is I would like to give a warm congratulations to my brother, who is still over in Okinawa right now, supposed to be coming home from his tour in Okinawa right now on Monday. To him and his wife, who just welcomed their first son into the world about a half hour before the race, making me an uncle for the first time. So congratulations to them. For my broadcast partner, excuse me?
I said slanja. It's a Gaelic toast to your health.
Thank you very much for that, and I'll be sure to pass that along. So for my broadcast partner, Tony Trapasso, I'm Frank Marchese. We thank you very much for joining us here tonight, and we will see you next week from the North Wilkesboro Speedway in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Until then, thank you very much for joining. Good night, everybody.